He looked me dead in the eye and whispered, "If you really love me, you'll keep this our secret." And that was the moment I realized my boyfriend wasn't just a cheater, he was a straight-up sociopath. Freeze that sentence in your mind for a second, because you need you to understand something about him before we get to the part where my entire world caught fire. From the outside, our relationship was the kind of thing people on Instagram envy. The soft launch pictures, the matching hoodies, the Sunday brunch mimosas, and "oh my god, you two are goals" comments. Even my own mom once pulled me aside and said, "Sweetheart, don't lose that one. Guys like him are rare. Yeah, rare like poisonous mushrooms. Pretty until you take a bite." Back then, I believed every glossy part of the story. He was charming in that effortless Hollywood villain way. He'd open doors for me without making a big deal out of it, like it was just muscle memory. He could talk to literally anyone. Old people, kids, waiters, dogs, whatever. He had that deep laughed eye contact charisma that made strangers feel special. My friends, they were obsessed, dude. He's husband material. Lock that down before someone else does. He's so respectful. Respectful. Depends what you define as respect. The kicker was my family. They adored him. My dad trusted him enough to show him the garage. That's the Pakistani uncle equivalent to passing the vibe check. And I swear my dad was ready to hand him the family tree. Meanwhile, my mom had her wedding Pinterest board half built with our hypothetical future children and color palettes. And me, I just soaked it up. I wanted the fairy tale so bad, I didn't notice the glitching pixels. The first glitch was stupid, or at least I told myself it was stupid. It happened on a random Wednesday at Taco Bell. He excused himself to the bathroom and left his hoodie on the chair. Not a big deal. Except when he slid out of it, something fell from the pocket and hit the floor with a little papery smack. Picked it up without thinking. A tiny receipt folded in thirds, like someone was trying to hide it from daylight. At first glance it looked normal. A coffee shop receipt. 2 items, but not our coffee shop, and not our order. I don't drink caramel anything, I hate sticky coffee. But the receipt said, caramel latte oat milk, 1x hot mocha, 1x time, 9:14 a.m. date. A Tuesday, he never drinks mocha, and he's always at work by 8. My brain didn't do the jealous girlfriend thing. I didn't spiral or dig. I just froze, like my instincts were waiting for the rest of the data. When he came back, I slipped the receipt onto the table and said, "Hey, you dropped this." His reaction was weirdly casual. He didn't flinch, didn't choke, didn't stutter, just shrugged. "Oh, grabbed coffee with Ethan before, you know how he is with milk alternatives." Then he laughed, like the receipt was some joke between bros. And I let it go. I let it go because I wanted to. Because the idea that something small could crack something big felt dramatic and paranoid and exhorting. So I swallowed the doubt, and the glitch dissolved, at least temporarily. But glitches don't disappear. They pile up. Glitch 2 was a notification. We were cuddled up on the couch, Netflix droning in the background. He fell asleep, phone unlocked in his hand. I wasn't snooping, but when the screen lit up, I glanced. Human reflex. The notification read, "Did you get home safe? Last night was insane, no name, just a phone number." Just enough chaos to make my pulse trip. My lungs tugged for air while my brain scrambled to rationalize. There were explanations, co-workers, cousins, drunk friends, but the little kissy mood. The last night, when he stirred awake, I pretended I didn't see it. I don't know why. Maybe I already knew what would happen if I asked. Maybe I didn't want to hear him tell me I was crazy. Maybe I wanted more evidence, something undeniable, something that wouldn't let him wiggle out. Because here's the thing no one tells you. Before you catch a cheater, you catch yourself making excuses for them. For weeks, our perfect relationship started glitching. Not enough to break, just enough to haunt. We started showering at weird times, like right when he got home instead of before bed. His phone lived face down. His cologne changed. His playlist changed. He stopped inviting me to his work lunches. And every time he slipped, he patched it with the same lazy affection that used to make me melt. "Baby, you're thinking too much. Work is insane right now. Stop reading into stuff." And I did. Until the twist I'm about to tell you screamed through the fog like a police siren. One night we were at a friend's apartment for game night. We were drunk in the way that makes everyone louder and happier than they actually are. His phone buzzed twice. He didn't see it. I did. Same number, the same kiss emoji. But this time the message said, "When is she leaving? I miss you already." I don't remember the next 10 minutes. My heart didn't beat, it sprinted. My brain didn't think, it detonated. I wanted to scream, throw the phone, flip the night upside down like some reality show meltdown. But I didn't. I slid the information into my back pocket like a weapon for later. Because he wasn't just lying. He was lying with confidence, with ease, with the kind of practiced charm that makes victims feel like villains. Looking back, now, that was the moment the universe whispered, "Girl, wake up." But I didn't. Not fully. I still wanted evidence. I still wanted logic. I still wanted a reason strong enough that nobody, not my mom, not my friends, not even him, could gaslight me out of it. So I brushed it off. I told myself it didn't matter. I told myself I was paranoid, but the truth, that was the first sign my life was about to implode, and I had no idea what was coming next. You'd think after the emoji messages and the weird coffee receipt, I'd confront him, right? Like any rational adult would just sit their boyfriend down and say, "Hey, explain this before I lose my mind." But real life isn't logical. Real life is strategic. Especially when you're dealing with someone who's already rewriting reality to suit himself. The next few weeks felt like living in a haunted house, where nothing was visibly wrong but everything was off. His voice changed first. Not enough for outsiders to notice, just enough that when I'd ask basic questions, I'd get this condescending tone like I was a toddler who couldn't pronounce my R's. Example, me. "Hey, why were you late?" Him. "Seriously?" That's what we're doing. Interrogations now. Not traffic or work or even a decent lie. Just instant guilt shift. A relationship cheap trick. Flip the script. Make the question the problem, not the answer. Then came the gaslighting greatest hits. "You're acting insecure. Stop overthinking everything. God, you're exhausted when you're like this." That one was my favorite. It's exhausting. As if I was the burden in a relationship. He was actively poisoning. The more he pulled away emotionally, the more he overcompensated physically. Flowers, for no reason. Extra cuddly at night. Random gifts. At first it felt sweet, then it felt calculated, like apology flowers for a crime I hadn't caught yet. And here's where most cheating stories split. Some girls confront, some girls cry. Me, I became a detective. Not the messy, crying, adrenaline detective TV loves to show, the quiet kind, the observant kind, the kind that waits. That's when I started noticing patterns. He always showered after coming home. He never took calls around me anymore. He used his phone in the bathroom for way too long. And he suddenly had early meetings that started at 7 a.m. He didn't know that the iPhone has a location history feature. And he definitely didn't know I knew how to check it. When I opened significant locations, I expected maybe a gym or his coworker's house. Instead, there were timestamps at some condo buildings across town, over and over and over. My stomach twisted so hard I had to sit down. But screenshots aren't proof, not the kind that shuts a sociopath up. I wanted something undeniable, something physical, something he couldn't spin into me being dramatic. So I started collecting puzzle pieces, checking pockets before laundry, noticing perfume that wasn't mine, taking pictures of receipts, saving weird notifications. I turned into the FBI, but prettier and in sweatpants. The almost caught moment came out of nowhere. It was a Friday night and we were supposed to watch a movie. He was in the shower, his favorite new ritual, and his phone lit up again on the bed. Same number, same chaos vibe. My pulse did that hummingbird thing again. I grabbed the phone and opened messages. I didn't read anything yet, just scrolled for screenshotable proof, dates, times, pet names, whatever. And then I heard it. The shower turned off. I froze so hard I swear time paused with me. The phone was still unlocked in my hand. Message bubbles open like a trapdoor. If he walked out, it would be nuclear. Not because I'd be in the wrong, but because cheaters hate when the mirror turns around. My fingers scrambled like I'd trained for this moment. I locked the phone, slided exactly back into the same spot, sat cross-legged on the edge of the bed, pretending to scroll through Pinterest like I suddenly cared about DIY mason jar wedding decor. He walked out shirtless, towel around his waist, steam clinging to his skin. He paused. Look at me. Why? Are you sitting there like you're waiting for trial results? Smart mouth. Not smart enough. I smiled, just looking at cute charcuterie setups. He nodded, totally unaware. His whole empire was one swipe away from collapsing. But here's the twist most people don't expect. The gaslighting didn't stop it, escalated, because cheating isn't just about betrayal, it's about narrative control. When I'd ask harmless questions, he'd act wounded. When I'd get quiet, he'd accuse me of being checked out. When I'd go to hang with friends, he'd get paranoid like I was the one cheating. Classic projection, classic deflection, Psych 101 with extra seasoning. The final straw, the moment everything clicked, didn't come from his phone, it came from his friend group. If you want to know if someone's cheating, watch how their friends act around you. They were jittery, too polite, too curious, like someone handed them a script and said, just don't blow it. One night, mid-conversation, his buddy slipped. He said, man, I don't know how you juggle everything. Then I froze, like the words physically punched him. My boyfriend stared at him so hard I thought lasers might shoot from his eyes. His friend's face flushed. He blamed vodka. They moved on, but I didn't. That sentence rattled around in my brain until it made sense. Juggle what? Work, friends, or me and the girl who texts kiss emojis. That night I made up my mind. No more hints. No more excuses. No more waiting for the universe to hand me clarity. It was time to go full surveillance mode. So I did something I'm not proud of, but I'm also not sorry for. I learned how to recover deleted messages from his phone backup. Turns out, YouTube and Reddit are basically CIA training programs for scorned girlfriends. It took an hour. It took shaking hands. It took a weird mix of rage and adrenaline that made me feel alive and dirty at the same time. But then it was a hidden folder buried in his files. A folder he thought was invisible. My cursor hovered over it like I was about to open Pandora's box. I clicked thought, and the moment I saw what was inside, my heart didn't just drop, it crashed through the floor and kept falling. And then I opened the hidden folder, and my heart stopped. But when I say my heart stopped, I mean it not the cute metaphor people use when they see a puppy. I mean the kind of stop where your brain goes silent and your body feels suspended, like someone pressed pause on the universe. Then inside the hidden folder were photos, videos, screenshots, messages, and not just flirty nonsense-proof time-stamped location. Him and her. Her sitting in the passenger seat of his car, my spot. Her wearing his hoodie, my hoodie. Her in a candlelit restaurant I'd begged him to take me to for months. There were captions, 2 cringe captions. My favorite person. Miss Yori last night was perfect. That word hit like a slap. And here's the messed up part. Seeing the evidence didn't make me cry. It made me calm. Disturbingly calm. Some people go hysterical. Others go tactical. I went full winter. I closed the laptop, placed my hands in my lap, and stared at the wall until the rage settled enough to stand. If I confronted him screaming, he'd twist it, blame me, redirect it. No, he didn't deserve chaos. He deserved precision. He came home an hour later, humming like the soundtrack to a clown nightmare. He threw his keys in the bowl and yelled, "Babe, you home," like nothing was wrong. Like the universe wasn't about to do surgery without anesthesia. I met him in the living room and said, "We need to talk." He paused mid-step, not because he was guilty, but because he was annoyed. That's how comfortable he was in the lie. That's how confident I am. "What now?" he said, dropping onto the couch like some exhausted martyr. I hated how familiar that couch made him look. Legs open, hand rubbing his jaw like I was about to confess to some crime against him. If you're entertaining to watch this story, hit the like button for your kind support. And tell me in the comments, which beautiful country are you watching from? And what's the exact time there right now? I found the folder. I said. His eyes flicked up so fast I almost missed it. Not surprising. Calculation, a micro-expression that read, "How much does she know, and how do I control this narrative?" Folder, he said, doing the dumbest performance of innocence I'd ever witnessed. Don't I said. Not with me. Silence sat between us like a third character in a horror movie. Then he exhaled and leaned back, staring at the ceiling like he was waiting for applause. Okay, he said finally. You saw it. I saw it. Not, I'm sorry. Not, it's not what you think. Just pure admission without remorse. The kind sociopaths give when they're bored of the game, not ashamed of playing it. Who is she? I asked. His answer. A shrug. A girl, like she was a random caffeine preference. I blinked at him, waiting for the human response that never came. Instead, he launched straight into logic gymnastics. It doesn't mean anything. He said, people hook up. You're acting like it's the end of the world. I let out a small, involuntary laugh, the kind you make when something is so delusional it rewires your brain. I'm your girlfriend, I said. This is the end of my world. He rolled his eyes, like I was being dramatic over misplacing a sock. And then, and I still can't believe this part, he flipped into defense mode like he was auditioning for Victim of the Year. You've been distant too, he said. Do you know how that feels? Living with someone who's constantly suspicious, who acts like I'm always doing something wrong. I stared in disbelief as he used my detective work, caused by his cheating, as the emotional weapon against me. Gasp level, Olympic, you cheated, I said, slower this time, like I was teaching English to someone who had never seen nouns or verbs before. He stood up, and that's when the speech happened, the speech that welded this story into my memory forever. You know what? He said. Fine. Yes. I messed up. Whatever. But we don't need to turn this into a big thing. You don't need to go telling people, if you love me, you'll keep this between us. Don't tell anyone. It's just our secret. There it was, the line, the title drop, the sociopathic thesis statement of his entire personality. If you love me, as if love was a leash, as if loyalty meant silence, as if betrayal was something you could hide under a rug and pretend wasn't rotting the floorboards. I didn't respond, I just stared, not crying, not screaming, just observing the creature in front of me like a scientist examining a rare disease under glass. He must have mistaken my silence for obedience because he softened his voice, stepped closer, and put a hand on my cheek. Baby, he said, you know how embarrassing this would be for me if people found out? Just let it go. We can move on. There's something chilling about a man who frames consequences as cruelty, as if the betrayal wasn't the violence, the exposure was. Then came the twist, the one that knocked the pity right out of me. He said, and be real, it would make you look bad too. People would wonder why. They'd ask what you weren't giving me. My jaw literally clenched. So that's how he saw it. Not an accident. Not a mistake. An equation where I was the variable that didn't add up. He turned away as if the case was closed and wandered to the kitchen to pour a drink. So we're good, he asked over the sound of ice hitting glass. That was the moment sadness evaporated, rage replaced it. Clean, cold, surgical rage. I walked to the doorway, arms crossed, voice steady enough to scare even me. We're good, I said. He smiled, relieved. But here's what he didn't see. The tiny curl of my finger behind my back. In fact, I added, I promise I won't tell anyone. He grinned, and God, if I could bottle that grin as a warning label for women everywhere, I would. But inside my head, another voice whispered, you just signed your own execution. Sweetheart, you just don't know it yet. I told him I promised, but I had my fingers crossed. Here's the thing about revenge. People assume it's irrational, messy, impulsive, wrong. True revenge is architectural. It's math, it's patience, its strategy is measured in silence and timing. And I had timing on my side, because 2 weeks after the confrontation from hell, it was his birthday. His parents always threw this massive family thing at their house. I'm talking about cousins, aunts, friends, God knows who, 50 people minimum. Tables layered with catered food and wine, music humming, everybody laughing about old stories of how he was such a sweet little boy. Sweet, sure, cereal, sweet. Anyway, he's still convinced we were good, invited me, and I went. Smiling, hair curled, nails done, wrapped gift under my arm. I played the perfect girlfriend so flawlessly I think even God took note. You'd think my revenge plan involved screaming at the party or exposing him in front of everyone, but nah, that would make me look unhinged. That would give him a story where he was the victim and I was the crazy ex. I wanted something cleaner, quieter, more poetic. Remember that hidden folder? Turns out, he wasn't just dumb enough to keep it, he was dumb enough to sync his phone to the house Apple TV months ago for family movie nights and never unlink it. So anytime he airplayed something, it offered a list of TVs he had access to, including his parents' living room TV. I tested it 2 days before the party by sending a random cat video to their screen. It worked. That was step 1. Now step 2 requires malicious compliance. He said it was our secret. Fine. I would reveal nothing with my mouth. I would read everything through his own digital stupidity. Birthday party rolls in. He's socializing. His mom is pouring Prosecco into crystal glasses. Family chatter bubbles around the living room like warm soda. People keep hugging me and saying, "He's so lucky to have you." And I smile because irony tastes delicious. At about 8:27 p.m., right as cake candles were being arranged, he asked me to grab his phone from the kitchen counter. "Mom wants pictures," he said. The universe practically winked at me. I picked up his phone, unlocked because I already knew, the passcode opened, photos, went straight to the hidden folder. Every incriminating pic was there, but the masterpiece. Oh, the masterpiece was a video, a 41-second clip of him and the girl, in a mirror, him kissing her neck, both laughing, both not pornographic, but cinematic enough to remove plausible deniability from the universe. I didn't post it, I didn't play it out loud, I just tapped share screen greater than living room TV. Then I placed the phone back where it was, walked into the dining room, and positioned myself by the dessert table like I was admiring pastries. 5 seconds later, gasps rippled through the room like an electrical surge. Forks stopped midair. Someone yelled, "Oh my God!" His aunt crossed herself like Satan had entered through the HDMI cable. I turned toward the TV with the most Oscar-worthy, shocked expression I've ever performed. There, filling the entire 65-inch screen in stunning HD, was his secret, his image, his hands, his girlfriend, who-wasn, single quotes t-me.n. The sound was off. The silence made it worse. It turned the whole scene into a museum exhibit of betrayal. He wasn't in the room. He was in the hallway with a cousin, bragging about some crypto nonsense. His mom yelled, "Where is he?" in that sharp maternal tone that could peel the paint off a wall. He came running in, already smiling until he saw himself projected to his own family like the world's nastiest PowerPoint. His face went white, not pale, blank, like a soul exiting a body. His mom started crying. His dad said nothing, but the disappointment in his eyes could have collapsed a building. A cousin whispered, "Bro," like he was witnessing a funeral. I didn't say a word. That's the beauty of malicious compliance. Silence does the stabbing. He finally scrambled to the TV, fumbled with the remote, cursed, dropped it, cursed again, and then sprinted to the kitchen to grab his phone. But by the time he disconnected the screen, the damage was irreversible. It wasn't a rumor, it wasn't a suspicion, it was a visual fact, captured, enlarged, undeniable. When he turned toward me, his voice cracked. "What did you do?" I blinked at him slowly. "I didn't tell anyone," I said. "No, you told me not to. It was just our secret." If satisfaction had a flavor, that line tasted like dark chocolate dipped in karma. But here's where the plan almost derailed the obstacle. Because out of nowhere, his mother, red-eyed, shaking, walked in early from the garage where she'd gone to get more plates. She wasn't supposed to see round two because on the TV, after he disconnected the phone, the screen didn't go blank, it auto-switched to the synced photo album preview. And, let's just say the preview collage featured him on a bed, her in his hoodie, and one truly unfortunate tongue situation. His mother screamed, "Turn IT off." Relatives scrambled. Phones came out. Someone's grandma whispered a prayer at the lemon bars. Meanwhile, I stood absolutely still, heart steady, watching the social implosion unfold like a fireworks show designed by Satan in Apple AirPlay. He finally killed the connection, panting, face red, hands shaking. His mother pointed at me wrongly and choked out, "Did you know about this?" I tilted my head and answered honestly, Not until recently. Her face twisted with this raw disappointment only mothers can produce. She turned to him and said, "You disgust me. There are punches that break bones, and there are sentences that break people." That one shattered him in real time. The room emptied fast after that, half because families love drama, half because they hate cleaning up emotional shrapnel. And that should have been enough, right? End scene, credits roll. But revenge has aftershocks. And he hadn't even started yet. End. Section 4, rehook. Everything was going perfectly until his mother walked in early. The party didn't just end, it disintegrated. People left in clusters, whispering like they were fleeing a cult compound. His mom slammed cabinets. His dad paced like he was deciding whether to yell or pray. And him. He hovered near me as I grabbed my purse, eyes blown wide with a kind of panic I'd never seen on him before. "Don't leave," he whispered. Not loud, not commanding, scared. And for the first time since the day I met him, he wasn't the villain in his story. He was a scared, exposed boy in a world that suddenly stopped enabling him. I didn't, and so I just walked out. Silence was the most accurate goodbye I could give. I expected it to be over after that. Clean revenge, fade to black, roll credits. But real life has sequels, sometimes messy ones. The first update came through mutual friends. His parents kicked him out for a bit. Not permanently. Parents rarely go full exile, but long enough to shake him. Apparently there were conversations about respect and family values and how dare you humiliate us in our own home. Zero mention of how he humiliated me, which I found darkly hilarious. His side chick, she ghosted him immediately. Not shocked. Side chicks love the thrill of secrecy, not the PR aftermath of exposure. And him? He tried to salvage dignity by telling people we'd been on a break, and the video was taken out of context, which is interesting because I didn't realize shirtless mirror makeouts had a cinematic context. Was unaware of whatever, not my problem. One night I got a text from an unknown number. "Can we talk? I need closure." Closure. That word is the biggest scam in the emotional economy. I didn't respond. He tried again with the classic manipulative range. Anger. "You ruined my life." Guilt. "My family won't look at me the same." Nostalgia. "Remember the beach." Trip. Victimhood. I didn't deserve that. But the killer one, the one that made me laugh for real, was, "I forgive you. Forgive me." The mental gymnastics deserved Olympic judging. I blocked him. Not out of rage, out of he's blocking isn't punishment, it's pest control. This was the twist I didn't see coming. I ran into his mom at a grocery store. I tried to dodge, but she spotted me between apples and avocados. She walked up slowly. At first I thought she'd confront me about the party carnage, but instead, she said, "Thank you." Just that. 2 words, sharp as glass. "I should have known," she continued, voice tight. "Mothers know. We always know. We just make excuses for our sons because that's what we're taught to do." I didn't know what to say. She added, "I'm sorry he hurt you," then squeezed my hand and walked away. And I swear that apology felt more validating than anything he could have said, because it wasn't romantic. It wasn't manipulative. It was accountability, the clean kind. Because life loves irony, he found a way to corner me 6 months later at a mutual friend's bonfire. I didn't know he'd be there. He looked different, thinner, quieter, hair grown out like he forgot to care. He waited until I was alone by the fire and sat across from me. No smirk, no swagger, no gaslighting armor. "I need to say something," he started. I almost rolled my eyes. I expected excuses or nostalgia or some pseudotherapy monologue about growth, but instead he said, "I wasn't cheating on you with just one girl." Plot twist. There'd been others. Not one. Multiple. Like I'd only seen the trailer of a movie that was actually a whole franchise. I didn't react. He mistook the silence for emotional buffering. "I'm telling you because..." He swallowed hard. "Because after the party, I tried dating again. And every girl I dated found out about it, and they all left. Karma doesn't always break bones. Sometimes it just rots reputations." He stared at the fire a long time before whispering, "I want to be better, like you deserved." Not an apology, a confession with no redemption attached. I finally looked at him and asked, "Why? Tell me." He shrugged. Because I thought, if you forgave me, maybe I could move on. Forgiveness. There it was again, the emotional coupa men ask for when they want clearance to feel good about their worst moments. I stood up, dusted ash off my jeans, and said, "You don't need my forgiveness to move on. You need accountability to change." He nodded, like he understood. But I could tell he didn't. Not fully. I walked away before he could ask for anything else. Closure, validation, whatever emotional souvenir he thought he was owed. Where I am now, I'm not with someone new yet, not because I'm broken, but because I'm busy rebuilding my standards into titanium. I stopped romanticizing potential. I stopped negotiating with betrayal. And I stopped calling bare minimum love. People always ask, don't you regret the revenge? No. I regret ignoring the first glitch. Revenge was just the receipt. If you've ever been cheated on, let me say the thing no inspirational quote page will. You're not crazy for digging. You're not petty for seeing patterns. You're not unhinged for wanting justice. Betrayal rewires you, revenge unravels the knots. And if you enjoyed watching Carmel do her rounds in this story, hit subscribe for more real-life cheating stories, because trust me, the universe is never short on plot twists, and I have receipts.